everybody. Oh, let me do this. There we go. All right, so here we go with, well, this was an internet, I guess, inspired item. Stuffed chicken thighs. And the chicken thighs have been stuffed with jalapeno poppers. So that's what we're going to do. This certainly is, I'm not, and nor can I take credit for this. This is something that I've been seeing on the internet lately, especially on YouTube. It seems to be quite popular. So as I'm talking, I'm just taking my cream cheese, and everybody got a little bit of cream cheese, 4 ounces, and I've had it sit out at room temperature for about an hour. And that's just to kind of soften it up a little bit. So make it a little more pliable, if you will, a little easier to kind of to work with. And now I'm going to add a little bit of cheddar cheese to it. It's about a quarter of a cup of cheddar cheese. Certainly, if you want to add more, you could add a little more. But I think that should be, a sufficient amount for, what we're doing. And I just want to take the back of a spoon, and I'm just going to kind of work that cream cheese and that cheddar cheese together. Just like that. Just to kind of get it all mixed together. That's all I really need to do. Make sure that you kind of scoop from the bottom, okay? Because a lot of that cream cheese down at the bottom may not necessarily get any of that cheddar cheese in it. So we want to make sure that we just kind of stir from the bottom. If you found yourself in a little jam and, the cheese, meaning cream cheese, was a little cold, you certainly could pop it in the microwave for about 5 seconds or so at a time. But I think that will work. So that's the first step right there. I want to get that cream cheese kind of mixed in there. And the cheddar cheese mixed in there as well too, okay? So we've got that. Now I'm just going to set that off to the side. Excuse me. Now I want to next focus on the chicken, because I noticed, that the chilies are pretty big, and the chicken breasts were, 7-ounce chicken breasts, so they should be pretty good size. But I want to take a look at them first, meaning the chicken thighs, to see how big they are. I may have to cut the chilies down in size if they're a little too big to fit in the inside, or I may just have to use half of one as well too. There are a couple ways here. Let me do this real quick. There are 2 different ways that we can go about cleaning the chilies, and I'll show you a couple ways. One is to just take a knife, such as a paring knife, which I have right here, and remove the stem end. Okay, so just remove the stem and then split it in half, just like that, and then use your paring knife, to remove the inside. So I'm just taking my paring knife, just kind of running it around. I want to get up underneath. Always be careful. Watch your fingers. And I can do it that way. And then if there's a little bit of the pith that's in there, again, the pith is the white part, I can always take a spoon and I can kind of scrape that out with a spoon. And again, do the same thing on the other half. Just run my paring knife along very carefully and remove, the seeds. And as I get closer to the stem end, I just kind of get the knife underneath, pull it out, and again, I can always just use my spoon. Okay. And then I can just fill each half and then just kind of sandwich it back together. So let's go ahead and we'll do that with 2 of them. that way. And then again, I'll show you an alternative way as well too. So again, take it, cut them in half after removing the stem, just like that. Remove it. Take my spoon. Again, just give it a quick little scrape. Okay. There. Guess you could probably even just take the spoon itself if you wanted, although it's a little harder and you do run the risk of tearing it. So I like to just kind of get in there a little bit with a knife, kind of free everything up. And then I can come in and, you know, scoop out the inside, and I can fill it, sandwich it together. That's one way. Another way is I do actually have a little tool for stuffing chilies. It's this little device here. It kind of looks a little bit like a vegetable peeler, which it is on one side. But if you notice on the other side, it's kind of serrated. It's designed to insert into a pepper. And you just kind of go around. And once you get it in, you give a little twist. And it'll take out the center. And you just go back in if you want, just kind of clean it up. It does leave a few seeds in there and a little bit of the pith, so you know, certainly that one could end up being a little warmer because of that fact. And I will also state too that it can make it a little harder to stuff as well too, although certainly not, I don't think enough to really make that big a difference. So, you know, it's a neat little tool that I have that takes out the center of chilies. And I use it a lot because I pickle chilies. I have a few pepper plants in my backyard, so I use those. So that's a little device, a little tool that kind of comes in handy. All right, so let me kind of set those tools off to the side. Let me wipe off my board. Get rid of the chilies, and we'll just go ahead and we'll stuff them right now. Okay. Just gonna set those over in my little garbage pail off to the side. Okay. All right. There we go. Clean as you go. Always want to make sure that you have a nice, clean workstation. Okay. Now we just do the fun part. We've got our cheese. We've got our peppers. And now we just stuff the inside. So just take and kind of fill up one half. Just like that. Okay. And then I'll take the other half. Put a little bit in there as well. Just like that. And then just sandwich the two of them back together. Okay, so there's one. Remember, as I've said on numerous occasions, you know, just work with what you have. You know, and I certainly would say I don't really have a lot of fancy gadgets, even as a chef. We'll just use what I've got. So we'll just take that, and then we'll sandwich those two together, just like that. That might be a little too much, but hey, if it's kind of squirts out the side, just take and sandwich it together like that. All right, now for the whole ones, this is where it can get just a little harder, but you just kind of go and just start putting it in. What I do find helps is because there's going to be air in this pocket. If you just take a knife, just kind of stab the end, that will allow the air to come out as you start to stuff the inside of the chili, which will ultimately allow the cheese to get farther down inside the chili. And I can actually hear the air kind of whispering out the other end. So there we go. And I can also too feel that the chili is getting heavier and heavier every time I push a little more of that cheese inside. So there we go. Okay. I really can't seem to be able to get much more in there, so I think we're kind of full up. Okay, so there's one. That way. So again, you just take a paring knife very carefully and just insert it into the bottom. So that as you take your cheese and you stuff it in, it allows the air to come out. Okay. And again, I can also tell that I'm getting cheese in there because it's, like I said, getting heavier every time I push a little more of that cheese down in there. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. I think that should do it. All right. So now we've got our chilies. All right. So I'm just going to get a little plate to put our chilies on. And I'm just going to set those off to the side. Move my cheese off to the side. Take a little bit of sanitizer, surface cleaner. Wipe off my board. Okay, there we go. I always like to do my chicken last in regards to preparation, because then that way I'm not having to, clean and sanitize my board, as often. Certainly I have to, but, I've got that done first. Then I can do the chicken, then I can clean and sanitize, and then we'll go to wrapping them in bacon before putting them on the grill. Okay, so we have our chickens here. I'm going to grab a little plate. To put my chickens onto as I finish them. So I've got one. And again, because they're boneless, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of use just a paring knife. And first I want to go through and remove the skin. Now the skin should peel off pretty simple with the exception of one end. And then I just take my knife and I just kind of cut the chicken away at that point. And there's a little bit of fat right there that I want to trim away as well. And then I also want to check on the inside, and I want to feel the inside for bones. And I can actually feel right there's a little piece of bone. So I want to get rid of that. Okay? And I just have a little waste bucket off to the side. So there's one. And I think those will be actually pretty nice. So there's one, trimmed and cleaned. Okay. And these were 7-ounce breast, or thighs, excuse me. So again, just get your thumb up underneath. And try not to tear it. If it feels like it's not freeing up, then by all means, use your knife. And allow that knife to do the work for you. Okay, so there's another. Okay. There. Also, again, checking. Now, this one, I don't feel any bones. Okay, but I do see there's a little bit of extra fat right there. So I'm going to just trim that away. And there's a little bit right here. I just want to trim that away. But as you can see, I'm just kind of trying to trim the fat, not too much of the, the chicken meat itself. Okay? There's another. All right. There's another. This one came apart pretty simple. So, just checking, make sure my camera is still on. I've had a few little in the past where I was done filming and I go to take a look and card error. Okay, so here I can feel and see there's a little bit of bone, okay? I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you run your finger right there, or anywhere on there, and you feel something kind of like a fingernail, that's a piece of the thigh bone. You want to cut that away. So that's what I'm doing just right there. Just kind of cutting that away, okay? There's another one. And I'm not, again, worrying about if all of the fat is removed. I just want to make sure that the majority of the fat is removed. Okay. So again, there and here. Okay. And then I'll turn it over and I'll check for any bones. I don't see any bones, but I do see a few little blood bruises. Okay, there's one there, there's one here, there's one there. And I like to get rid of those as well too. So I'm just gonna use the tip of my knife and just kind of remove those little blood stains. It's just a little bruise is all that it is. So I just want to remove that. When it cooks up, it'll be unsightly. You will see it. It'll have certainly a reddish color to it. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, so there we go there. Okay, so I'm going to wash my hands now that I've been